Well, good afternoon, and if it's Thursday and somewhere around 2 o'clock in Los Angeles, it is the Raymond Hall Show. Thank you for tuning in to the show. We have a packed show this afternoon, and we're going to get right to it. We have with us someone that's going to share some information with us that everyone has in their things to do, on their to-do list. Mm-hmm. And everyone aspires to get this done because there's no other feeling like a feeling of ownership. We have with us Pastor Frederick Howard.
Yes.
And Pastor Frederick Howard is with us, and he's going to talk about a unique program in real estate that can help persons with challenges.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Challenges on the income side and challenges on the credit side.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so he's going to be giving us some good information, and we're looking forward to it. I was excited when I heard about it. I'm like, okay, well, I need to know about this. And on top of that, he's a professional because he's in the business. He is also a pastor, and he has pastored the church, been a senior pastor for 31 years.
21 years.
21 years. Okay.
Ministering for 30 years.
He's been ministering for 30 years and a pastor. So he comes to us well recommended, and we want to welcome him to the Raymond Hall Show.
Well, thank you.
And this is the show where service is a different conversation. So you're definitely in the right place, and
Awesome.
I hope you feel very comfortable.
Awesome. I do.
All right. Oh, thank you very much. And Levada.
Well, it's always good to be here.
I know, and it's good to have you here.
Yes.
We're here in Morris Media Studios, located in the iconic Leimert Park area of Los Angeles. My mentor, we hope that he's getting better, Mr. Johnny Morris, and we're here in Morris Media Studios with Miss Felicia Morris. We also have a off-site guest today, Miss Zanetta Smith.
Yes, yes.
And Miss Zanetta Smith has.
Have her.
Yes, we are, and that's the work of Miss Theus.
Oh, well, thank you. Just
so we want to get credit
service.
where credit is due. Thank you so very much. Very, very acclaimed. This voting thing stayed with me, and this is so important to the community. So let's get started. Why don't you give us a little bit more about yourself when it comes to the when it comes to real estate and. Excuse me, everyone. I forgot to turn my own phone off. I don't know where that came from. Okay, but why don't you give us a little bit more background about yourself, and then tell us about this program that can help so many people in the community.
Okay. Well, I've been a realtor for the last 13 years at Keller Williams in Torrance, and then we just opened up a new one in Inglewood. So I became the team leader there.
Okay.
After I had an issue with my home, in keeping my home of 21 years, and I was able to save it, I made it a task of mine to make sure others were able to save their home, and then also those that weren't able to purchase the traditional way would be able to purchase.
Okay.
Now, there are many programs out there that give you down payment assistance, that gives you a second on your property. But then with those programs, they are geographic and they are income limited.
Okay.
With this program is no money down.
Okay.
No mortgage insurance, no points, no fees, and it's not credit driven. And not only that, you can purchase anywhere in California.
Okay.
You can not only purchase a single family home, but you can also purchase a duplex, triplex, or fourplex.
That was one of the things that you said that was really, really interesting to me, because that's the first time I've heard that.
Yes.
I've heard assistance with single family, but I've never heard something that allows you to purchase and then have a income stream.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I had a client that this program is going to qualify you regardless of how much you make or whatever your credit is. And so I had a client that only qualified for $200,000. And as you know, in California, in LA, in Inglewood,
right.
you can't buy anything for $200,000.
You can't even get a garage.
Right.
And so I suggested that they find a 2, 3, or 4 unit. And they were able to close on a 2 unit for $645,000, and also be able to not pay the full mortgage because the unit in the front was actually paying their mortgage. Okay. There's another one that a couple that bought a property in Long Beach, a triplex at 3% interest.
Oh, that's great.
$1,200 a month.
Oh, unbelievable.
And it's a 15-year mortgage.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
$1,200 a month.
And a 15-year mortgage.
15-year mortgage, yes. And with the program, you can buy your interest rate down.
You know you got everybody in the viewing and listening audience with
my ears perked up.
And people say, well, what is the requirement? I mean, what's the catch?
Right.
The only catch is you have to live in the property. And one thing that's built into the property is a financial counselor as you're getting ready. So while you're getting ready for the process, they want to make sure that you're paying your bills on time, making sure that you're not over extravagant in your spending. They have something called a shock payment. So if they qualify you for $1,800 and you're already spending $1,500, what they're going to want to see is you saving $500 or $300 a month, which would be the payment shock from what you're paying versus what you're going to pay.
Okay. Now, and you say this program is not income-based, so anyone can qualify.
Anyone can qualify. The one that I put in the duplex, it was working for the county as a, child support. She only works 3 days a week, part-time.
Wow.
3 days a week. And when she started, she didn't have any credit. No credit.
Oh, wow.
Now, which is worse, no credit or bad credit?
Both of them are pretty much the same.
They're pretty much the same.
Yeah, no credit or bad credit is pretty much the same.
Okay.
Well, can you share a little bit more about how the program actually works? I'm a tentative buyer, so...
It is a program that works government funded. Okay. It's only 2 banks that are actually utilizing, and that's Citibank on the West Coast and Bank of America on the East Coast.
Okay.
And I know it's too simple to actually make you believe it's true, but it's actually true. The only thing that they request is that you pay your bills on time, and that's it. And you do your payment shock.
Okay. Oh, okay. So now Keller Williams is one of the realtors that's participating in the program.
Right. So you have people who are actually in the program that work in the program, but they only work with buyers. And so I became a referral agent for the program because I'm a listing agent. And what I do is I actually go out and find properties that sellers want to sell to put my buyers in.
Okay.
So it's either in-house or referral, and that's what I am. I'm a referral agent at Keller Williams, Inglewood. And so we have one workshop at my church every 3rd Saturday. And usually that Saturday, we usually have about 300 people there.
Okay. So the workshop is not tied to the church. It's open to the public for anyone.
It's open to the public, open to anyone, and it's no charge.
Okay. Now, what is the address of the church?
10400 South San Pedro Street, 104th and San Pedro.
104th and San Pedro. Okay.
Yeah. And then we have a smaller workshop at our office once a month. This month it'll be on the 29th. We just had a workshop this past week. We're having another workshop, smaller workshop at our office on the 29th from 6 to 8:30.
Okay. And what is the address of your office?
111 North La Brea.
Oh, okay. I know where that was. What are those twin buildings?
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But if you're not careful, you'll go to 111 North La Brea in Los Angeles.
Right.
So it's North La Brea in Inglewood.
Okay. Now, is that the one close to where the police department is behind it, or is
right?
That
it's the one. Right, the one behind it. Police department is behind it. KJLH is right next
there.
door.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So the bank, the only bank that's authorized to participate in this particular program on the West Coast is Citibank.
It's Citibank, and that's only their corporate. They're corporate. You can't go to a Citibank and say, "Oh, I want this program."
Okay.
Yeah, this is surrounded by the nonprofit that actually handles it.
Okay. So for people to participate, they need to come to the workshop.
They need to come to the workshop because that's the initial start of the program. So if you don't come to the workshop, you can't go any further into the program.
Okay. Now, do you have a calendar of events?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
So what we'll do is we will make sure that your calendar is posted on our webpage.
Okay, great.
And posted on the webpage here. I've just been notified, the engineer just notified us that we have a caller on the line. So put your headset on and then we'll be able to hear the caller. Good afternoon. You're on the Raymond Hall Show.
Hi, Raymond. This is Zanetta with PRPI.
Zanetta, how you doing?
I am well. How are you?
We are. We're excited to have you on the show. I'm here with Ms. Theus and Mr. Howard, and we were talking about, in the first segment, we were talking about the housing program and this benefit that's could change a whole lot of people's lives. And it is something that a lot of the people don't even know about.
Exactly.
Now,
which housing program are you referring to?
It's a...
what's it called?
It's a NACA program.
A NACA.
Mm-hmm.
A-N-A-C-A?
N-A-C-A.
A NACA.
Okay.
N-A-C-A.
N-A-C-A.
Okay. So, with... what I was about to say was equally, you have information that is vital to nationally, I think, that a lot of people don't know about. So it's going to be one of those shows that's going to be very informative for everyone. Pastor Howard is going to stick around, so we're going to ask you to do a self-introduction. I was so thoroughly impressed with what you're doing and what you have done. So give us a brief introduction of some of the things that you've done, and then tell us about the research.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on the Raymond Hall Show. This is my first time, and I am so excited to be talking with you all today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the Associate Director of the Policy Research and Practice Initiative of the United Ways, California.
Mm-hmm.
And as a part of that initiative, I coordinate the operations of the polling, focus groups, and civic engagement regarding African American interests across the state of California.
Wow.
So my position is really translating policy to practice. I'm also an adjunct professor of social work at Cal State LA. So I'm so excited to be bringing you all portions of the results of the California African American Policy Priority Survey, which just dropped last week.
Okay. So that's very recent.
Yes, very, very recent. You know, this survey is really highlighting how black voters feel and how they're going to vote and which issues are important to them in this election cycle. As you all know, we have a very important election on June 5th in just a couple of weeks. And so this survey really polled about 1,300 individuals.
Mm-hmm.
I would say black voters in California.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 41% by telephone, 59% online, and there were some unique findings. I think the strongest finding was that how individuals were going to vote for governor. And that would be this June 5th. We had 35% said they were going to vote for current Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
You had 19% undecided and 19% that wanted to vote for our former mayor, Antonio Villaraigosa.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's very interesting in knowing, the power that our governor has in controlling our state. And so, followed up by that, the next question was in regards to U.S. Senate and how individuals were going to vote for a U.S. senator. We had a resounding 65% in favor of a current senator, Dianne Feinstein,
Mm-hmm.
and 12% for State Senate President Kevin De Leon.
Mm.
And then I think most important to individuals in the state of California and black voters is public instruction. So the state of our public schools, the quality of our public education. And in this June 5th election, we will be voting for the superintendent for public instruction. And you had a large number of individuals at 62% who were still undecided.
Mm.
And you had 17% who are leaning toward Assemblymember Tony Thurmond. And that really coincides with further key findings we found. So when we move to questions on public policy and how black voters felt about public policy, the extremely high policy priority, the highest was public education at 78%.
Wow.
So we're finding that public schools and the quality of education in our public schools is still very important to black California voters.
Mm-hmm.
And, LA alone has intense dropout rates. And so it's going to be really important that we find a state superintendent that is going to prioritize our children, prioritize our students, and really make sure that our California students are able to operate in this global world.
Mm. Okay. Now, the data that you all collected, the number, because that's quite impressive, 78% says the number one public issue to them, important issue to them was the public schools.
Yes, extremely high policy priority.
Okay. Did it break down what about the public schools was important, or was it just the general category, public schools?
It did not. That was the general category. So it was improving the quality of education.
Okay. All right. So now, once you get the data, when it comes to preparing people for, first of all, you spoke about the importance of the June 5th. Talk to us from the public policy perspective. What makes this June 5th uniquely different from maybe other elections at the same time at different periods?
Yes, that's a great question. Well, I think, it really goes to, people always talk about voting for president, voting for president, voting for president. And it's also about local politics. Local politics are just as important as voting for president because it affects us as California residents.
Yes.
So you want to talk about, if you have, I don't have children, but I have many friends and family members who do. So if you want to talk about how our laws and policies are going to be affected locally, then that would mean we have to be very strategic on how we're voting for governor and which governor we choose that's going to align to how we want our state to be run. So that's one reason why this election is so important. I think another reason this election is so important, like I said, is that we are voting for state superintendent, which coincides with our the quality of our education. And I think it's important for our students to be valued and the quality of their education to be put at the forefront because we are global. This world is global, and we,
right.
As much as we have to think locally, we also have to think globally, and what opportunities are our children getting in being able to compete in this global world. Mm-hmm. And it starts with the quality of the education.
Mm-hmm. Did you find
another important vote that we're going to make is for state senate, and so we know it would be of major importance to have someone from California. California that's a safe city, California that's very progressive, California that really sets the tone for a lot of what goes on in the country. Mm-hmm. And so that's why this election is so important because it affects us here locally.
Okay. Now, when the numbers were all in, excuse me, was there any association between voting, who you vote for, and economic indicators? Does it tend to open up more to certain communities or certain areas in the community, in the state, when it comes to one people getting elected as opposed to others? Let's say that Dianne Feinstein wins, and I'm just throwing it out there. Let's say that it opens up. Does that open up opportunities because of her tenure? Does it mean that we're likely to have a opening of economic opportunities that would tie people to being able to buy homes and be able to do the things that Pastor Howard is talking about?
I see what you're saying. That would depend on what Dianne Feinstein is running on, right? The survey did not pull that data specifically. Okay. But that would be following what the candidate, whether that be Feinstein or De Leon, what they're running on, and making sure that it's important to us as Black voters. Mm-hmm.
So how do we get the information about the importance of the numbers and the research and the vote? How do we get that out into the community so as with the housing program, people can use that information?
Very, very, very good question. That is definitely my role within PRPI, is how do we get this to the people? How do we break it down to the people? How do we let the people know, especially the Black voters, why this is important and what we can do with this information? The first thing we can do is we can share with you, and you can really send it out to your audience.
Okay.
We had we have a press release that came out. We have more press releases coming out, and we're really talking about now is doing different events and tours across LA specifically. And how to get this information out. Our website should be up very shortly, where we will then be breaking down the information even more on our website so that people can access the information and really align it with what's important to them.
Okay. Well, when that website becomes available, please let us know, because we want to put as much information out there about voting as we can. And I think that the power starts with the vote.
I agree.
Yes, I think conversations after the election, if you didn't participate in the vote, is just a lot of talk. You have to get involved.
Let's participate.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So now, how long did it take to do the study?
That is an interesting question. I don't know the timeline of organization Aviderus did it for us. It's a public opinion research organization. So I'm not sure how long.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And they definitely went to certain communities, or they tried to do a broad scope of most communities of this California?
Absolutely. So you asked, so it was about 1,300 interviews conducted throughout California. And you asked me about the length of time. Actually, it was April 28th to May 14th.
Okay.
Is when interviews were conducted. And you had 41% by phone and 59% online. So that means that the survey was conducted by phone call for 41% of the people, and then 59% of the people answered the survey online. And so it was weighted back to the population, so by age, partisanship, gender, geographic region. So you had about 52% in Los Angeles, 12% in other parts of Southern California, 26% in San Francisco Bay Area, 6% in Sacramento North, and 4% in the Central Valley.
Okay. Now, What if you wanted to give the listener, give the audience 3 points that you wanted them to take with them so they could share with their neighbors, friends, strangers, to talk about the importance of voting? What 3 things would you want to share with us that we could all share with someone else?
Oh, great question, Raymond. You know, the fact that this survey, California African American Policy Priority Survey, is a valuable tool for understanding black voter attitudes in the state of California. Mm-hmm. So when I send this to you, you get to send it out to your audience, it's your audience knowing that this is how black voters feel, and this is likely how black voters are going to vote, and is it aligned with what you want? And if not, take civic action. Mm-hmm. Change it. I think number 2, it would be that we as black voters are positioned to have a major impact on who will be the next governor and who will be the next United States senator.
Right. Because Alabama, what state?
Alabama, that was it. The
Wasn't
black
that
women
impressive?
made the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That I saw that and I went, that's impressive.
That's impressive.
In Alabama.
Yes.
I mean, anywhere.
If
but
we could do it in Alabama.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
It can be duplicated.
Okay.
It absolutely can. And knowing that, Los Angeles alone has the highest African-American population in the state. Mm. So black voters in Los Angeles can make a difference in this election when you're talking about who will be governor and who will be United States senator.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yes.
And then the third is actually going out to the polls and voting on June 5th.
Right. Well, I'll tell you this. You have given us a wealth of information, and I am going to extend. I know you're very busy, and I want to thank you for accepting our invitation on such a short notice, on such a very short notice.
Yes, we do appreciate that.
Yes. And,
you're welcome.
To all of the
I know
people.
Zanetta's used to working on a dime. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
I am.
So thank you. We definitely would like to have you back.
Okay, I would love to come back.
Okay. We're going to give you 2 invitations. Number 1, we're going to give you an invitation to follow back up on the voting, but we also want to make you a part of the Raymond Hall Show family of just keep us abreast of things that you're doing, things that are going on that you have privy to that may be of interest and may be of support to the listening audience.
I will definitely do that.
Okay. Thank you so very much again.
Thank
And we look forward to talking to you again.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. I had a blast.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Zanetta Smith, and we are so very fortunate she agreed to come and talk to us about the project at the very last minute.
Yes.
And here again, if it were not for Levada Theus, that never would have happened. And we want to thank Sebastian Wrigley Thomas and thank all of the people that helped to make that possible.
Well, thank
we
you.
need to understand the power that we have in vote. We have some things in our lives that's service that we can offer. Mm-hmm. And then you have some things in your life that's service that's almost like a duty. And it is your duty to give that service. And to
That's
vote
true.
is
That's true.
one of
You
those
can't complain
things.
if you don't vote.
You can't complain if you don't vote.
And I would dare say there's a politician or somebody behind that program for us to get into those homes.
Exactly.
Because you said it's federally funded.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a HUD-approved program.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. So we need people in office who are willing to make those accommodations for us.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Well, I will say this, that it was we have 2 distinguished guests today, and we are coming back now to the housing because people need to know about that.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
Sometimes you can't. People are in such a circle just trying to keep the rent up that owning a home seems so foreign.
Right. And they're paying so much in rent.
Right.
That they can
goodness.
literally own. And the
Own a
only thing
home.
that's stopping them, and this is the biggest thing that comes when I say, why aren't you buying a home?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, well, I'm getting my stuff together. And that's the biggest lie that we can tell ourselves.
He must have been at my
Because-
house. the other night.
Because you will never be able to get yourself together. We
No.
need help.
Right,
We
right,
do.
We
right.
need
Okay.
somebody to walk you through it. Especially
Okay.
none of us know how to handle our finances. If we see something we want, we go out and buy it.
Bye.
If we and then when bills become due, then we pull our hair out, the hair that we do have, and then we get frustrated. Well, with this program, there's an end result. There's some work that you have to do, and many of us, the reason why they don't go through the program is they say it's too much. They're requiring too much. But
Now,
it's the same
let's
thing.
talk about what they are requiring. They're requiring that you pay your bills on time,
Pay your bills on time.
and they're requiring that you.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty, yes.
Okay.
That's it.
No income limit.
Okay.
No income limit. You can buy in the whole state of California. You can buy single
Anywhere.
family,
yeah.
2, 3,
Not
4
designated to one
Okay.
certain area.
We have another caller on
All
the
right.
line. Let's see what
Okay.
this caller is talking about. Good afternoon, and thank you for calling the Raymond Hall Show.
Hi, Raymond. This is Anthony. How are you?
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing fine, Mr. Anthony. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I think you recapped it. I was on hold at Reverend Howard there. And my question was relevant to the span at which he, and the particular bank, he mentioned corporate only. And the name of that bank and a recap of what Ms. Smith said, I can rewatch it in terms of the, the playback.
Okay.
But Reverend Howard, in the North, I have a friend that's been trying to. Everything was FICO driven, and what you're saying is that person has to. Is there a minimal score involved?
No minimum score at all. You can have a 400 credit score and still qualify for the program. Because you've heard many people who have a lot of money, they have a lot of income, yet their credit is bad because they made bad decisions. Well, with this program, it does not matter. The only word you need with this program is patience. You just need to follow the process and do what they say do. The name of the program, because I know you said someone from that's in the North, it's called the NACA program. Our church is the only one that actually does it in South LA. At first, they were doing it every week, but now they only do it once a month. And every third Saturday, the church is full.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter where it
Once again,
is.
give us the address and the time that meeting is held.
It's every third Saturday
Okay.
at 10400 South San Pedro Street. But the best way to find out the schedule would be to register. And the registration is pretty long. It's hbwregistration.fhret.com. So what it stands for is Home Buyer Workshop Registration.fhret.com. And then it has all of the dates and the locations where they can go and register for the program.
Now, I noticed you mentioned that everyone will qualify for the program.
Right.
Is that one in the same of everyone will qualify for the program and be able to purchase a home?
Right. If you only qualify for $50,000, they're going to qualify you for $50,000. Now, here's what you do when you qualify. If you know you can't buy anything for $50,000, what do? You go to a 2, 3, or 4 unit. The reason why you do that is because if you purchase a 4 unit, 3 of those units qualify as your income.
Oh, okay.
So that's why the income goes up.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it
Okay,
now.
that's good.
Okay.
Let me interject right here, and that's a good thing to know right there because that was an issue. Now, you indicated that it's NACA based, and you indicated that there's a workshop. For instance, if I was in that workshop, what would be the timeline? It would come to fruition if I follow everything A, B, C, and D on an average.
Basically, it depends on you. It depends on how ready you are because at the end of the workshop, they'll ask you, do you have your license? Do you have your tax statements? Did you order your tax transcripts? Do you have your bank statements, all pages? And then if you say you're ready, they'll call you in. In fact, the best route I would say is to call me. The reason why is because I have direct access. Other than someone just walking in and turning in their paperwork, I can see whether or not you're ready, because I actually help you get your paperwork ready so that when they do call you, you're ready for everything that they need you to have.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So
go ahead.
So, is this based on income property if you're purchasing? Is that why you mentioned the corporate route as opposed to conventional residential route?
No. When I said corporate route, what I mean is you can't go into a Citibank bank and ask them for this loan. This is at the corporate level of Citibank. Okay? You can't go into Bank of America on the East Coast and request this loan because it's on the corporate level. So the basic of this program is you really
have to get through it through the authorized...
Right, the authorized HUD approved program.
Right.
And once you do that...
Okay, good. All right. Well, what you can do, Mr. Anthony, is go to their website. We've got a few minutes left in the show. Give us the website address.
The registration is www.hbwregistration.fhret.com.
Okay. You'll have to put that on the website.
Yeah, we're gonna put it up on our page and see if we can't post it somewhere. So we're gonna post your calendar and we're gonna post that registration up too. Mr. Anthony Williams, thank you so very much for calling, and thank you for being a valued listener, viewer, and supporter of the Raymond Hall Show.
We're joined at the hip.
Okay.
Have a good day.
All right. Bye bye. Okay. This I learn something every day, so I'm just thankful for that. But this is a program that could help a lot of people.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and I do know the what do you want to say, the thought processes in Washington today is we would rather spend money for people to own stuff than to continue to spend money for people to sit up and rent.
Right. And I really push my clients now to purchase 2, 3, and 4 units, because right now we're in a seller's market.
Right.
Okay.
And the seller's market, because it says no money down, because of what happened in 2007, 2008, they're kind of leery with 100% financing programs. So the stringent requirements for sellers lessen for home 2, 3, and 4 units. Let me tell you another key of the program, and it's going to blow you away. This is for the sellers that are listening that actually own a 2, 3, or 4 unit or own a single family. You know how much the cost of escrow cost. Okay. So with this program, in order to make it a benefit to the seller, the buyer pays the seller's non-recurring closing cost.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, question is, because, veterans have certain benefits at the veterans level, both at the CalVet and the CalVet, they buy the house for you. At the federal level, they just guarantee a loan in case the veteran. Does this work for veterans as well? And
Yes,
does it touch on any of the benefits, or is it just completely separate from any of the benefits?
It is even better than the VA loan.
The CalVet or the federal?
Both of them. Because with the VA loan, you have to have a minimum credit score of 580.
Okay.
Right.
And there's no minimum.
You can have a 400 credit score with this program.
Okay.
That's good.
The only thing you have to do
is pay your
bills on time. And that's something that you're supposed to learn. If your bill is due on the 1st, you pay it on the 25th. Yeah, because you got to mail it. It has to get there.
Right.
So that's all you have to do is do what they say do. And I think that's the biggest mistake, is because we don't like to be told what to do.
So if a person has a history of always late, they come into the program and they establish paying their bills on time. It doesn't matter what their history looks like.
Doesn't matter.
Long as once they get into the program, they pay their bills on time.
Exactly.
Wow.
That may take longer for somebody like that.
Yeah.
It may take 6 months to a year, but they have to show the pattern of them paying their bills on time.
Wow.
Okay, 'cause my problem has been down payment. I did hear you there was some...
No down payment.
No down payment.
You pay, at the close of escrow, you pay your mortgage and your taxes and insurance.
Okay.
And here's the beauty of it. I have a member at my church that's a cafeteria worker, wasn't used to saving money, but she started the program maybe 6 months ago, and she has about $15,000 in the bank now because she did what they told her to do.
Wow.
So what happens is, with the money that they tell you to save, you can use that money to buy your interest rate down.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So the more money I would have to put down would make me eligible for a lower interest rate. Is that how that works? Okay.
And then if you own a home, but you think this is good for you and you're ready to get out of that home, I have another client that owns a home over near Dodger Stadium, wants to sell it. If she sells it, she's going to have about $400,000 worth of equity.
Okay.
Because you can't own a home and be in this program. This has to be the first one.
Okay.
So they don't do it
First-time
for
buyer,
investors.
yeah.
You can't do, and it's not necessarily a first-time home buyer. That's what I'm about to tell you. Because she owns a home. If she sells that home and then gets into this program simultaneously, she can have literally $400,000 that she can sit on that she doesn't even have to pay.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Well, this has been a very informative show.
Yes, it has.
And as with Zanetta Smith, we are inviting you to come back and not only give us a update, but to give us more detail about the program. Our objective at the Raymond Hall Show is to run the feds out of money. Okay? You all hear that? Instead of paying all that money in the rent, we need to talk to Pastor Howard. Go to these workshops. Let's see what's going on. It's not going to hurt us, Okay. So today's show is brought to you by Donzel's Enterprises. They provide residential services for the special needs community. It's also brought to you by a senior salute, remembering and honoring those senior veterans and those seniors who have given service to the nation and the community, and their service has risen to a level that it must be recognized. Go to aseniosalute.com and then support that. I'mALuxury.com, where you can go and you can, when it has to be the best, make sure that you get the best for that person that's the best to you in your life. Our many sponsors, the Bishop Lonnie McNamee is one of our sponsors, and we are always grateful to him because he does so much to help the program. All of the people at the various churches that support us, we are so very thankful. We're always thankful for Miss Thea's here.
Can I give a quick shout out?
Of course. It don't even have to be quick.
I don't want you to forget the African American Voter Education and Project at 3653 South La Brea is hiring people. They will pay you $20 an hour to go out and talk to people in the community.
Okay.
And they're paying $12 an hour if you will register people to vote. So it's a job opportunity. I just left there today, and we had a training session going on for about 20 people.
Okay.
And they left, and they went out to start canvassing the neighborhoods, talking to our citizens. $20 an hour. No experience, but you do have to be willing to talk. to
Okay.
people.
So can I ask you a question? So they have the possibility of making $32 an hour if they register somebody?
If they register people to vote, yes.
So they can make $30, $20 an hour.
So what they do, they give them like, okay, if I agree to work 5 hours today, going out assessing the community, canvassing the community, that's at $20 an hour. They give them, it's all on technology, give them a little phone with everybody's name. But then like later on tonight, I can call in and say, okay, now I'm doing voter registration. You clock in, now you're making $12 an hour.
Okay.
So you're not doing them both simultaneously.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But you can, make a nice little bit of money just for getting out and talking to people, encouraging people to vote.
Now, what's the contact information for that?
I'm going to give them a phone number.
Okay.
I think we posted it last week. It should be on the website.
Okay.
323
Okay.
903
Okay.
5542.
Okay.
And it's over there on La Brea, right next door to CJ's restaurant.
Okay.
So stop
How long
by.
are they hiring?
They will be hiring, I guess, till we get enough people. It's working through the November election.
Elections. Right.
Especially with, the voter registration. The canvassing has an open window, I guess the last 2 weeks right before the election is when the canvassing component is most effective.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are so very thankful that you invited us into your homes and into your space, whether you're viewing us or listening to us. We are so very thankful. The programming that we have here, it's all about service. We are so very thankful because to get to this point, people gave service. And to move communities further to where we can continue to build, bridge, or enhance services that add to the quality of life for all persons in all communities throughout this nation, it's going to require service of us. So we want to thank you for tuning in. We want to thank you for your valued service that you give in your own way. And we ask you to continue into that service. To Pastor Howard, to Ms. Theus, to Ms. Smith that was on the show, we thank you today. My name is Raymond Hall. You've been tuned in to the Raymond Hall Show. We're going to invite you to come back next week, and we want to thank you for tuning in. God bless you and have a wonderful week. Oh, last word. Happy Memorial Day.
Yes, you almost forgot.
Almost forgot. And to our dear friend, we have so many veterans that's in many places. Our dear friend, Mr. Mitchell.
Yes,
fellow veteran, and he's a L.A. County Commissioner, and he's also a California Senior Legislature. We want to wish him a speedy recovery. Remember somebody who served. I mean, it's most of us just did what we had, what we were told to do. It wasn't about something that we liked doing or anything else, but it required service. So this Memorial Day, just remember that it was someone that gave service that gives you the opportunity to be able to enjoy the Memorial Day weekend. God bless you and have a wonderful weekend.
Yes. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.